What's up guys, this is Ty, the Asian Wonder, your online personal trainer. And in this video, I want to explain to you guys a very important concept that there's a lot of misunderstanding about in the gym among the gym members and the trainers themselves. So this issue deals with how you gain muscle and how to grow muscle and how muscles work and the difference between fast twitch and slow twitch fibers, what intensity levels you should train at, and how many reps. Should you train high reps, low reps? Should you train for strength or endurance? So in this video, I'm going to answer all these questions for you. But before I do, I want to go through it step by step so that you guys can understand. If you do a Google search on strength versus endurance, fast twitch versus slow twitch, high reps versus low reps, and all these things on Google, on YouTube, you will find there's a lot of conflicting information or there's a lot of incomplete information. And the reason why is because people really don't understand. They have a full grasp. You have trainers out there that will understand the muscles in theory, but they don't understand it in application. So they have theoretical knowledge, but they don't have the experiential knowledge. And in this video, I want to share something with you guys that I spent over a decade of doing research and experimental experiments on with the prisoners that I used to train as a volunteer. And I'm going to share with you what I discovered during that time. I'm going to start off first by showing you guys about this intensity level scale right here. Scientifically, it means that the level at which you exert your muscles and how much of your muscle capacity that you use. Now, the way that you understand this, guys, is that in the muscles in the human body, you have, let's just say that between 0 to 100% capacity. Now, at this 60% level, anything that you do that's below 60% of your capacity, what it does is it activates what we call your slow twitch muscle fibers, right? And these are all the slow twitch muscle fibers down here that I'm going to color code in red. And it's very easy to remember the red fibers because that's the one that transport all the blood, and that's the one that you need for endurance, for conditioning, and for long distance type or long length of time type of training. And that's what the slow or endurance muscle fibers are for. Sometimes you'll hear in the textbooks and in the magazines and the videos on YouTube and on Google that this is called your red fibers, right? So this has many names, but regardless of what it is, I just simply call it your endurance muscles right here. And I'm going to write it right here on the side so you guys can remember that. These are your endurance fibers right here. Now above this, when you train over 60% of your capacity, meaning that if you're able to lift 100 pounds and you can lift beyond that 60 pounds of your max, then what this would be considered is your fast twitch fibers right here. So in this range, I'm going to color code in blue for no other reason than just so that it's a different color here. This is what we call your strength and your speed fibers. So the fibers up here is what you use to do a split second run in a sprint or a 40-yard dash and a 50-yard, 100, 200, 400-yard dash. This is what you're using right here, are these muscle fibers up here. Now, the fibers down here are being used in when you're doing a marathon running or when you're walking and things like that. Now, how does the body, this is a very important question because if you talk to a lot of trainers and a lot of gym members, they don't even understand this, when the body activates which fiber. And this is very crucial, guys. If you guys understand this concept, you can be an excellent trainer or you can get really good results at the gym, is that you have to understand when the body activates the strength and the speed fibers and when it activates the endurance fibers. And before you understand that, you have to understand why the human body has these two different types of fibers. And the reason why it has this is because for survival reasons. Remember, through evolution, the human body has evolved to become what it is today. And in order for us to survive, to run away from a saber-toothed tiger or from Tyrannosaurus Rex or from any kind of danger, we have to have the ability to just explode and get out of the way as a lion is chasing our ass down, trying to take a bite out of our ass, okay? So because of that, nature, Mother Nature, evolved our human body so that it has these strength and speed fibers so that we can explode and get the hell out of the way and get to run to safety. Now these endurance fibers are normally used for just everyday activity. For example, if I'm lifting these whiteboard markers up right here and I'm just walking around the house and just picking up paper or typing on the computer, then it uses these endurance fibers because it doesn't have to contract. It doesn't have to contract very fast. Now these strength fibers and speed fibers, they contract very fast. so that when you need to haul ass, it can contract and get you out of danger, right? So because of that, there is a special type of fuel that this uses, and there's a special type of fuel that this uses, and I'll go into that a little bit later. But first of all, I want you just to understand that this is to protect us for safety, and this is unique because it's the only muscles that can grow inside the human body. Now, you might hear this often referred to as the fast twitch right here, or you might refer to it as the white fibers, and you might even hear referred to as the type 1, type 2 muscle fibers. Type 2. And these right here are often referred to as the red fibers, or the slow twitch, or you might hear it referred to as the type 1. Now, all these does not matter, and you don't even, if you get this wrong where it's type 2 or type 3 or type 2, it does not matter. The easiest way to remember this is just to remember that this is called the endurance fibers, and these are the strength and the speed fibers. Now, when you guys are training at the gym, you'll hear a lot of people refer to this, and let me go ahead and draw this out right here. You'll often hear this referred as, so this would be the aerobics training down here, and this would be the anaerobic. When I train people, or when I'm teaching other trainers how to train people, I just let them know that this is the endurance and this is the strength and the speed. And that's the fastest and the easiest way to remember these things, folks. Don't try to make it complicated, right? That's about as much theory as you need for these different levels of fibers right here. Now, the next question that you're going to ask yourself is that which is the best intensity level to train at? Should I train at below 60% or above 60%? Now, the answer to that is it depends upon what it is that you're trying to do. If you're trying to burn body fat, then what it is that you want to do is you want to train mostly in this area, because these are the fibers that burn the most fat. And then if you want to train for muscular size and strength and speed, then you want to train up here, because that's the fibers that create speed, they create strength, and they create the size that you want in your muscles. Normally, the average quantity of the endurance fibers in the human body is a 50-50 ratio. In other words, you'll have an average person will have 50% endurance fibers, and the other 50% will be strength and speed fibers. And the way that it's layered in the body is like this. You'll have 50% speed fibers here, 50% endurance fibers, and they're interlaced right next to each other like this. So just keep in mind that we have 50% of the human body is made out of speed fibers, and the other 50% is made up of endurance fibers. Now, obviously, if you have guys like Ben Johnson, or you have guys like Michael Johnson who are extremely fast guys, or Usain Bolt, or any of these sprinters, these Olympic sprinters, what happens is their body has more of the speed fibers than they do the endurance fibers. So for example, they might have 60% or even 65% speed fibers, more speed fibers than they do the endurance fibers. And if you look at some of the marathon runners, they'll have more of 60 or 65% endurance fibers versus the speed fibers, and that's how these athletes are able to excel in the sport that they are. Normally, if you're training at the gym, there's a lot of people that will say that they train high intensity, the screaming, the yelling, and all that, making funny, ugly faces and stuff. And to me, that's not what high intensity training is. High intensity training is when you train near towards the 100% right here range, where you're using the full capacity of your muscles. So for example, if I can bench 325 pounds, if I'm only benching 100 pounds in my workout, then that means that I'm training at a very low intensity level. If I'm training near 300, 315, 320 pounds, that's almost near my maximum weight that I can bench press, then that would be considered a high intensity. And this is about as much information you need concerning fast and slow twitch fibers and the intensity levels enough to understand. This is enough theory to get you going to get the results that you're looking for. Thanks for watching this video so far, and in the next section I'm going to cover the next important part of the muscle fibers, and we're going to talk about the rep range and how this information right here will determine how many reps that you need to do for your exercises, depending upon what your goals and what your results that you're looking for are. So I'll see you in the next video.